Hello my friends, it's Danny, and today I'm showing you how to make my rotisserie chicken noodle soup. Now, as much as I love to make chicken noodle soup from scratch with homemade broth and chicken, oftentimes I just don't have the entire day to dedicate to it, and that is when this semi-homemade version of chicken noodle soup comes into play. This is a very simple recipe that leans on store-bought rotisserie chicken and a good quality store-bought broth to create a chicken noodle soup that comes together in about 30 minutes. And I promise you, it's got lots of flavor and provides that same delicious, nourishing experience that you get from a classic chicken noodle soup. Now, for those of you who do want to make the recipe from scratch, I will link down in the description box below to my recipe for homemade chicken broth as well as the roasted chicken. But for the sake of this recipe, we're going semi-homemade. Now, because this is a pretty quick cooking soup, I like to have all of my ingredients prepped and ready to go before I get to the stove. So the first thing that I'm going to need is one chopped onion. And remember, the easiest way to chop your onion is to trim off the stem side of the onion, slice that onion in half, remove the papery outer skin, then lay it flat side down and create horizontal and then vertical slices to create a checkerboard. Then just bring your knife right over the top and slice straight down. I'm also going to need 3 medium carrots, peeled and then cut into bite-sized pieces. 2 celery stalks, cut into half moons. 3 cloves of chopped garlic. I just like to come right over the top of the garlic, give the knife a good firm hit. You'll see that skin comes right off and then chop it up. And then I like to finish this with some fresh chopped dill. You're gonna see that the dill adds this really bright, fresh pop of flavor right at the end. So good. Then I'm also gonna need 4 cups of shredded chicken. Now, if you had any leftover chicken in your refrigerator, you could use that. If you wanted to roast up your own chicken, you could certainly do that. But in the name of keeping this recipe very easy and convenient, I love to buy organic store-bought rotisserie chickens. And then once I get them home, I simply pull them apart. So I just remove the skin and the bones and I use my fingers to shred up the meat. A little side tip, if you can do this as soon as you get home from the grocery store, it makes it a little bit easier because the chicken is easier to pull apart while it's still warm. And then I'll store this in an airtight container and have it as a Head Start ingredient ready to go throughout the week. So you could use this for soup, you could use this for salads, etc. It's a super convenient ingredient to lean on when you have a busy week. Other than that, I'm just gonna need a little bit of olive oil and some poultry seasoning along with 8 cups of chicken broth. I'm actually gonna be using the Kettle and Fire bone broth, which is super rich in protein and collagen. And then of course, you need your noodles, and we're gonna chat about that in just a second. So I've got a nice big pot of salted water coming up to a boil. That's gonna be for my noodles. And then over here, I've got my 6-quart enameled cast iron pot. This is the Lodge brand. It's one of the best deals you're gonna get for this type of pot. It's literally my go-to pot for soups and chilies. And I'm gonna get that heating up over a medium heat. Once the pot has heated up, I'm adding in a tablespoon of olive oil, which is going to heat up very quickly, and then in goes my chopped onion, along with a pinch of salt to help pull out the moisture and get that onion cooking. Just stir that around a bit. You want to let this go for about 5 minutes. What you're looking for is for the onion to become nice and tender and translucent. So you don't want to brown the onions, you want them to look just like this. Then I'm ready to add in my garlic, the carrots, celery, and the poultry seasoning, which is a blend of thyme, sage, onion, and a few other ingredients. Now, personally, I'm a huge fan of spice blends like poultry seasoning because instead of having to buy 5 or 6 or 7 different spices that you may or may not use on a regular basis, you can just buy one spice blend and still get all of that flavor. So not only is it convenient, but it's also very economical. Okay, then I'm ready for my chicken broth. Now, I am using a combination of the Kettle and Fire chicken bone broth and the regular chicken broth. The bone broth is going to be a lot richer. It has a lot more body because it's more nutrient dense, has a lot of collagen and a lot of protein. And then the regular chicken broth is a little bit lighter. So I like to use a combination because A, I like the texture, and B, the bone broth is a bit pricey, so combining them is the perfect way to cut the difference. So if you want to check any of their products out, make sure to check out the description box below because I have a promo code that will save you 20%. You just want to use code SOGOOD20. Once I've got all of my broth into the pan, I'm going to turn the heat up to high, let everything come up to a boil, and then I reduce it down to a simmer and add that shredded chicken in along with a little bit of salt and some black pepper. Just give that a stir, and I'm gonna let this simmer away for about 10 or 15 minutes, let the chicken heat through and let all of those flavors come together. And this is when I like to make my noodles. Now, when I was growing up, my mom always made chicken noodle soup with egg noodles. So to me, chicken noodle soup and egg noodles go hand in hand. There's just a little nostalgia there. It gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling. And I really do believe that when we have positive emotional connections with certain dishes, that does add a level of unseen nourishment to the dish. Now that is of course my opinion and my experience. You can use any type of noodle you prefer for your chicken noodle soup. You could do a gluten-free pasta, you could do a high protein pasta, really whatever you love. You just want to cook it according to the package and cook it just under so that it's nice and al dente. Once I've got my noodles right where I want them, I just drain them out, put them back into the pot, and add a little drizzle of olive oil so that they don't stick together. Then I'll just pop a lid on and let those sit while we finish up the soup. So this soup looks great. It's just about ready to go. I love to finish it with a big handful of fresh chopped dill. It adds a beautiful, bright, fresh, bold flavor. And to me, chicken noodle soup is just not the same without it. Now, you're gonna notice that I don't like to add my noodles into the soup because I find that this makes for very mushy noodles and the noodles ends up absorbing all of the broth. So what I always do is I keep those noodles on the side and then I add some to the bottom of my serving bowl and pour the chicken soup right over the top. Not only does this maintain the integrity of the noodle, but if you have leftovers, this is going to last you a lot longer. The soup is so simple to make, yet it has so much flavor. It's really a testament to what you can do when you're working with high quality ingredients. Next time you think that you don't have time to make homemade chicken noodle soup, try this semi-homemade rotisserie chicken noodle soup and let me know what you think. I'm so excited to hear your thoughts, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Danny Spies, and I'll see you back here next time with some more clean and deliciousness. Cheers! Want to make your chicken noodle boop. Now, for those of you who want to make, it's a super convenient boop. It's a super boop.